The news coming out of Washington this week has sent shockwaves through millions of American households, especially among seniors and families already struggling to make ends meet. According to the latest plan released by the Trump administration, millions of seniors, disabled individuals, and children may receive $0 in food stamp benefits this November. What makes this announcement even more alarming is that it directly contradicts what the administration told federal judges just days ago. In court, officials claimed that partial SNAP payments, about 65% of regular benefits, would still be issued. But when the final plan was unveiled, it revealed a grim reality. Millions of Americans who depend on SNAP to feed their families could be left with nothing. Welcome to Truth Lens, where we uncover what's really happening behind government headlines and how those decisions affect ordinary Americans, especially our seniors who have spent decades working, paying taxes, and contributing to this country. I'm here to break down the facts and not the politics, and to shine a light on the struggles of those who are often ignored. Retirees living on fixed incomes, seniors surviving solely on Social Security, and families who rely on SNAP just to keep food on the table. Across America, I hear from older adults who say every month feels like a battle to afford groceries, a battle to keep the lights on, and a battle to hold onto their dignity. And now, with this latest SNAP update, that struggle has only deepened. Let's take a look at what major news outlets are reporting. According to NPR, the administration's plan for smaller SNAP benefits may actually result in millions receiving nothing at all. The New York Times described the proposal as draconian, warning that it could cause severe harm to children, seniors, and people with disabilities who depend heavily on these benefits. The Texas Tribune published heartbreaking stories of residents saying, "We don't know what we're going to eat." Texans, like many Americans, are anxiously checking their EBT cards, waiting for benefits that may never arrive, even though the federal government claimed it would release at least half the normal benefits. Confusion and delay have left states uncertain about when or if that money will show up. To understand how we got here, we have to look back a few weeks. The administration initially announced that it would withhold SNAP payments entirely during the government funding dispute. This prompted several states to take the federal government to court, arguing that Congress had already approved an emergency fund to ensure that SNAP benefits would continue during shutdowns or other crises. Two federal judges agreed, ordering the government to use those funds to pay SNAP recipients. For a moment, it seemed like relief was on the way. The White House publicly stated it would follow the court's order and issue partial payments. But then, within days, that commitment was reversed. The administration changed course again and released a new plan, one that would pay far less than promised. When experts examined the plan, the numbers were shocking. According to the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities at Seaweed Pooper, which analyzed the administration's spending proposal, roughly 40% of households that normally receive the maximum food stamp benefit would see their aid cut by half. Families who already struggle the most, those relying entirely on SNAP for groceries, would face the harshest reductions. Seniors and disabled individuals receiving income through Social Security or SSDI are expected to lose even more. Some small households will receive as little as $12, and while approximately 1.2 million households will get absolutely nothing. For older Americans, this isn't just a matter of policy, it's a matter of survival. Many seniors live on fixed incomes that barely cover their rent, utilities, and prescriptions. SNAP is often the last safety net, ensuring they can eat 3 meals a day. Take a retired widow living on $1,200 a month from Social Security. Her food budget might already be just $150 a month. Every dollar of SNAP helps fill the gap. If that benefit disappears, there's nowhere left to cut. The result is empty refrigerators, skipped meals, and declining health. Across the country, senior hunger is quietly becoming one of America's most pressing crises, with food banks and community pantries reporting record demand. The administration's decision also highlights the ongoing volatility and confusion surrounding federal benefit programs. One day, recipients hear that their aid is safe. The next, reports have surfaced that benefits have been cut or delayed. For older adults trying to budget down to the penny, this uncertainty is devastating. Many don't have savings to fall back on or family members who can step in to help. Inflation has already eaten away at the limited purchasing power of Social Security checks, and now the very program meant to help supplement their food needs is on the chopping block. Adding to the chaos, the CBPP report revealed that the administration's plan violates its own regulations. Instead of releasing the full $5.5 billion from the Emergency SNAP Contingency Fund, only about 2/3 of that money is being distributed. Now, that means millions of families will receive smaller payments than legally required or none at all. The analysis estimates an overall 60% reduction in average benefits, even though a 35% reduction would have been sufficient under the court's ruling. Behind these statistics are real people, seniors like Ruth in Pennsylvania, who told local reporters she's been rationing meals to stretch her food supply, or James, a retired veteran in Texas who depends on both Social Security and SNAP, but says his EBT card has shown $0 since November began. These are Americans who have worked, paid taxes, served their country, and now face hunger in their later years because of political decisions made far above their heads. The chaos at the federal level has forced state governments to step in with emergency measures. Across the country, governors and local leaders are scrambling to fill the gap left by the federal shortfall. Alabama allocated $1 million in emergency funds for food assistance, while Arizona committed $1.8 million to food banks. California, recognizing the massive scale of need, approved an $80 million relief package. States like Maryland, Massachusetts, and Michigan have dramatically increased funding to community food programs, while New York is investing more than $100 million to help its nearly 3 million SNAP recipients. Even smaller states are stepping up. Vermont has added over $6 million in food bank funding, and West Virginia allocated $13 million to assist struggling households. These efforts show that local leaders understand what's at stake, but state budgets can only stretch so far. For seniors relying on Social Security, the situation is especially dire. Many of them already face rising Medicare premiums, prescription drug costs, and higher rent. Now, losing access to food assistance feels like the final blow. Hunger among seniors is not a political issue. It's a humanitarian one. Studies show that food insecurity among older adults leads to higher rates of hospitalization, weaker immune systems, and greater reliance on expensive healthcare services. In other words, cutting SNAP doesn't save money, and it shifts the cost to already overburdened hospitals and taxpayers. Meanwhile, nonprofits, churches, and community organizations across the country are trying to fill the void. In cities like Baltimore, Houston, and Sacramento, faith-based groups are organizing food drives, mobile pantries, and meal deliveries for seniors left behind by federal inaction. But even these programs are struggling to keep up with the growing demand. Volunteers describe lines of cars stretching for blocks as seniors wait hours for a box of groceries. For many, this is their only hope of putting food on the table this month. At Truth Lens, we'll continue following this story closely because it's more than just a news headline. It's a crisis affecting millions of lives. Seniors who have given everything to this nation deserve better than to wake up wondering if they'll eat tomorrow. Children who depend on school meal programs and SNAP should never go to bed hungry. And Americans living with disabilities shouldn't have to navigate government chaos just to survive. The situation unfolding right now is not about statistics. It's about humanity. It's about the grandmother in Kansas quietly skipping dinner so her grandkids can eat. It's about the retired steelworker in Ohio who can't afford his heart medication because his food budget vanished overnight. It's about the millions of Americans who did everything right, paid into the system, and now find themselves forgotten. As uncertainty continues, Truth Lens remains committed to bringing you the most accurate and timely updates on government benefits, Social Security, SNAP, Medicare, and more, because the people who built this country deserve clarity, respect, and truth. The headlines may keep changing, but the human impact is painfully clear. Seniors, veterans, parents, and children are facing one of the harshest months in memory. And as this story unfolds, we'll be right here shining a light on what's really happening and standing with those who need help the most. This is Truth Lens, where we look past the politics and focus on the people, because your story matters and your struggle deserves to be heard.